Good morning, Julien. Thanks for being here with us and taking some minutes to answer this interview. So, good point of start. Could you please introduce yourself? We know the topic profile, so Java champion, Microsoft employee, Gipster creator. That's a lot of stuff for one guy. So, yeah, who are you? How do you make all of those roles happen in one day? And yeah, what's your area of interest?
Thank you. The camera is here?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm the creator of Gipster, so I created like 7 years ago now. I still lead the project, but there are two colleagues. There is Dipu and Pascal. So I'm not the only one. I'm not doing everything because it's just not possible. Today in Gipster, I'm mostly like organizing things like this conference, like we set up an association, a non-profit association for Gipster. So there's a lot of, I would say, administrative work and organization work, which is what I'm mostly doing because I'm the only one who can do it usually. That means that I'm coding less at the moment. Also, one of the answers is that I don't do everything. I've got a lot of help. That's the way Gipster works. Also, it's more community than a technical project for me. So it's a bunch of friends who know each other and help each other. And so when I step back from some work, or some other people come and replace me, and that's awesome. That's how the project goes. So to answer your question, I still lead the project, but I'm doing less than I used to do. I'm also doing less because I've got other things in my life. Typically, so I work at Microsoft in the Cloud Developer Advocacy Group. There is a lot of things between my work at Microsoft and Gipster because in Cloud Developer Advocacy, I work in the Azure engineering team, and I'm specialized in Java. I'm leading the Java team, in fact, for Developer Advocacy. So, of course, when you do Java on Azure, well, Gipster is not very far away. So there are a lot of things between my real work and my Gipster is still real work, but I would say the work I am paid for and the work I do for free.
This is combining in the end.
Yes, there's a mix. Sometimes I do some. Well, for example, today, Microsoft is sponsoring the conference. They paid for my trip, by the way. So that's, I would say, Microsoft work, but that's also Gipster work. It's a mix. So that's also how I do things. I have the chance to be able to mix some of them and do twice at the same time, which is another solution. Then, yes, clearly, well, it's not just me. I would say the whole Gipster community had, I would say, a few trouble in the last few months because of COVID-19. Yeah. Most of us do this on our free time, and with COVID, we have less free time because we've got kids at home. We have job issues, and it's a big mess for everybody. So the last few months have been difficult for everybody. But still, I mean, the project goes on, and I'm very happy that we still do the conference. It was a close call, but we're doing it.
Okay. So you were saying you're three project leaders on Gipster. So there is you, Dipu, and Pascal.
Yes.
So this is a French reference, but project leader in Gipster, is that a good situation? So you're taking the administration part, but from a global point of view.
Well, there are two things. Pascal and Dipu are, I would say, like the technical leaders with me. And then for us, the association, we did something a bit different. So we have Anthony with the treasurer and Pierre with the secretary. There are also two things as like the non-profit organization and the technical work. Is that a good situation? I'm not sure it is a good situation, but we're trying to make it work. I mean, compared to a few months or years ago when it was very blurry. I mean, we didn't have any legal entity, we didn't have any money, and we were just doing things a bit randomly. We have organized it a lot. It's a lot, first of all, easier for us. I mean, as soon as we got money, it's a lot easier.
Yes.
first thing, of course, obviously. And the second thing is that we now have a legal organization that protects us. For example, when we were doing meetups before, it was just, we were just doing a meetup. And imagine that, I stand up and I break the camera. Well, what happens? We don't really know. Now we've got a legal entity, we've got an insurance, we've got, everything is a lot more clear and probably easier now for us than it used to be, especially in case of trouble. So that's definitely getting better. Then that's a lot of work. I don't know if it's a good or bad situation. I just happened to be the person who was there, and I'm just doing it because I want the project to go forward, and that's the only way to make it continue.
So talking about organization, so now from legal point of view, so it's more organized as a non-profit organization, but for organizing the work, time, developments, and evolutions, or are you organizing because it's 500, more than 500
Yes.
contributors, volunteers. So how do you manage all those people? If we can talk about management.
So it's a weird thing. I would love to have like a management expert come and auditors and tell us what we should do. Like we are a consulting company.
Yeah.
So on the main project, we are nearly 600 now, and there are lots of other projects. So I don't know how many people there are in total, so it's more than 600. And there is, I would say, no business contract between us. It's like not like a company where, but from my job at Microsoft, like, I'm the manager and somebody works for me. Well, you basically need to work with each other and you have time to do it. And so it's very different. I'm not the boss of anybody. I don't pay people. Mm-hmm. So there is no, we cannot organize and say, okay, we're going to do this feature and I have 5 people work on it for 20 days, like a normal company would do. So it's very different. For us, it's like we're going to have this cool feature and we say it on Twitter and say, okay, this is cool, let's do it. And some people will come or not. So it's very different. So if you compare to a normal company, we can do a lot more because sometimes we have like 3 different ideas. If we were a real company, we could only do one and we need to choose. Here we can do the 3 ideas because if it's cool, we can have 3 teams of people arriving. We can do more. But we also do less because we don't have the time and you don't pay people. And maybe sometimes people will, they enjoy it at the beginning and then they leave. Yes, and so there's a fine line between, what we can do and what we can't do. And we never know where we are because there's no real management. What is well with that project is that we, sometimes we give ourselves deadlines. We will do Gypsy 6 on that day. We will release that feature on that day. And usually, in the last 7 years, we have always delivered and on time and with the quality that we were expecting. So what is weird is that without having any real management, without having any, we don't do agile. We've got nothing. It's like just people just come and code.
Get tickets and go.
Yeah, and still we deliver, which is sorry. There's just one thing that we can push. We put bug bounties in some tickets, but that just helps that much. It pushes some stuff, but most people don't do it for the money. We were speaking yesterday about we got a ticket that Matt Variable on security. So because Matt today will do some of the hackathon, and we were discussing about solving his ticket. So his ticket has got a $500 bug bounty, which is good money. It's been open for 1 year, and nobody does it. So I'm not sure why. Maybe it's very complicated. Maybe people are not interested. I'm not sure. But basically, people don't come and work on Gypsy for the money.
Okay.
Even if you put $500, it's usually not enough.
It's not the goal. And so I guess many of the community members, are developers. Is there on other roles, except from the association, but maybe architects, UX designers, and what are the roles you need more on Gypsy project?
So developers, of course, we've got tons of developers, as you call the project. No, what we really lack, the real issue is web designers. People who can do beautiful beautiful CSS, beautiful logos. So we have some logos from a couple of years ago, but we paid a designer for it. As we are an association, we can pay people and have contracts, and we paid her because that's just the only way. Nobody was interested into doing that. So it looks like open source is very strong amongst developers, but in other type of jobs, well, you don't have the same spirit. So well, if we need it, we pay because that's the good side of having money, but we would rather have people from the community help us on those, especially yes, design, having a nice website, having a nice default template, having different templates.
So that's a goal for people.
Yes, clearly, that's one of the main issues we have.
Okay. Okay. You just announced features for Gipster 7 during the keynote. What are the maybe you told me it was more like day-to-day basis, but are there some big trends for the future, version 8 or new topic?
So the real big topic now is that we go beyond. So traditionally, Gipster is Spring Boot and Angular. For the front, now we've got Angular, React, and Vue, which are the same level basically. And for the back, we're starting to have the same thing. So we've got 3 different Java backends. We've got Quarkus and Micronaut, which are like, I would say, alternatives to Spring Boot. We've got also Kotlin, so it's not really an alternative, but it's Spring Boot with another language.
Yeah.
And then we've got totally different things like .NET and Node.js, which seem to work well. So clearly the big trend is using Gipster to generate the same kind of project, but in other languages. Those people benefit from our community, they benefit from the bug bounties. Well, if you take another Quarkus, they benefit from the front end that we generate. They benefit from all the tooling, the GDL works the same, everything works the same. So for them, they have, I would say, they can have a big impact with, I would say, a minimum work. But there's still a lot of work to have Quarkus and Micronaut working, but definitely for those people, they can have a big impact with our help. And for us, it's also very interesting because we are not just stuck with one technology. Yeah. Today, Spring is, of course, the major technology for doing microservices in Java. But some people might have different needs. Maybe they want to use the .NET because they work for Microsoft.
For example.
Yes. No, I'm joking with that, but it depends on the people. Some people, I don't know, just want to do Node.js, for example. Yeah. Maybe the company has got a specific issue.Maybe they want to use a specific library. There are many good reasons why you would not use Spring Boot. And well, with Gipster, you were stuck with it, and now you can have, for example, you could create, I don't know, 5 microservices with 5 different languages. I'm not recommending that because to maintain it would be a nightmare. But I mean, you can do that now, and very big change compared to what we were doing a few years ago. For me, that's the biggest trend today.
And getting more density and opening the possibilities for Gipster.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And getting back to today, GipsterCon is the first of the name. Is that an evolution of the Gipster conference or other format that will run in parallel?
No, so originally the idea was to have both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we had GipsterConf for 2 years. It was working very well. We had like 150 people coming. Everything was good with it, but it was a lot of work for myself. So first of all, I quitted Ypon to join Microsoft, and I knew I wouldn't have as much time for it. But also it was an issue. Well, from my point of view, it was an issue for the project because contributors from the project were spending like 2 months to prepare. And so when GipsterConf was arriving, the project was going down because we were doing less for the project. So I wanted to do something which was lighter and easier, which we could organize very easily. So it was a huge failure because of COVID. Yeah. And so in the end, I probably had as much work as I had before. But the original idea was to do something lighter and have less work. And maybe do both in parallel. Well, one of the discussions was with Ypon was that maybe we could have done both, but then it's even more work. Anyway, this year it's very specific because of COVID. Like everything is failing, so we couldn't have done a conference with 100 people anyway. So it's the only format that would work. So it's very specific for this year. I hope we will continue to do Gipster code. Well, if it's a success, we'll see at the end of the day. Then it's a different way to make the project go forward. You know, when you do a conference, you give to people. Yeah. The project doesn't receive a lot, and here the idea is that people come to give to the project.
And the project all together.
Yeah, and we improve the project. So it's well, we'll see at the end of the day, but I'm pretty confident about this. Otherwise, you know, we test. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, and depending on that, we'll see next year what we do.
So expectations for today is to have more links between community members.
Yes,
and produce.
Yeah, well, the issue with that is that most people never see each other, especially also with COVID now. It's the one day where people can meet and have fun together. I've also, I would say, like half of the people here are new totally new to Gipster, but you know, beginning the project. So we want to have more people in the project afterwards, so to get them started. And we cannot do that with 100 people. You cannot like train 100 people in one day.
Yeah.
So it's the only way we can. So for the core team, meet and work together, and then you know grab a few more people with us. So if at the end of the day, I don't know, we have 5 more people contributing, success. If we have bug bounties and tickets that were closed, it's a success. And well, if we had done a conference, we would have none of those. Yeah. We'll see the numbers at the end of the day, but it's very easy. I mean, everything is public. We'll see at the end of the day if we close tickets or not.
Okay, thank you. Final word, because we switch on the
track. Yeah, we are gonna try to work on a 500 bounties ticket today in this track, because it's the ticket for domain-driven design in Gipster with an example application using a clean architecture. So that's the track we're gonna follow. Do you have any final word, Julien, before we switch?
No, well, I'm very happy to see this track. But all the tracks are interesting, but this one is live, and so that's really good that people from the outside can join.
Yeah, it was. In fact, it was. We tried to thought of a way to have every track live, but it was too hard in the delay. So we just say, okay, let's try interviews and one track. It's easier for us. Less camera, less microphone. In fact, one, because all the other ones failed. Fucking adapters. But the idea is to try that. Don't hesitate to put feedback on the chat, put feedback on Twitter for Julien or Victor, and we'll see if this works, if this is easy to follow, if this is interesting. Don't hesitate. We are taking feedback.
It's also an experiment, but and with COVID, we don't have any choice anyway. So.
Yeah, we are doing what we can.
So.
Thank you
a lot, and well, have fun, and well, we'll see each other.
And don't hesitate. You can come back, and if people want, the door is closed, but it's for the sound. You can say, okay, it's a track. It's just a track, and we'll switch to our camera.